In this video we discover Lisbon's must-see attractions for your next trip. We are uncovering the top 20 breathtaking sites in the Portuguese capital that should be on every traveler's bucket list. Ready to start exploring? Olá, tudo bem? Hello, I am Tony Galvez from Road Trip Spain and Portugal, where we help you plan the perfect trip with practical information and insider tips. Two observations before we start. All the attractions on the list are places that we think anyone visiting Lisbon should see, but there are many other places that for several reasons do not appear on the list, but are nonetheless interesting. The aim of this video is to guide your priorities based on our personal criteria. Are there many other interesting places? There are, and perhaps we will talk about them in a future video. Second comment, in the description of the video we will put the updated ticket price for those attractions that are paid. And now let's go through the list in strict alphabetical order. In the heart of touristy Lisbon, connecting Rua Augusta with Plaça do Comércio, is the Arco do Triunfo da Rua Augusta, the Arc of Triumph of Augusta Street. It is a 19th century work that was erected as part of the great effort to rebuild Lisbon after the 1755 earthquake which destroyed the city. The arc is on our list because it is possible to climb to a lookout point at the top and enjoy beautiful views of Baixa, Chiado, Alfama and the castle on one side, as well as Plaça do Comércio and the Tagus River on the other. You can also get a close-up view of the gigantic sculptures that crown the arc. Access to the arc is from the side facing Augusta Street itself. The ascent is first by lift and then by several flights of stairs. The visit is paid, the entrance fee is not very expensive, and those with the Lisbon card get in for free. The Lisbon card is an attraction pass which will have a future video on the channel. We think it is worth climbing the arc for the beautiful views of Lisbon. The closest metro station to the arc is Terreiro do Paço on the Blue Line. Arte Urbano is street art in Portuguese, and the attraction has two very special features. It is ephemeral and has several addresses in Lisbon. The Portuguese capital has an extraordinary collection of street art, a cultural manifestation whose origins date back to the 1970s and which constantly renews Lisbon's urban landscape. It's such a rich collection that there are even guided tours that take you to some of the best examples of Lisbon street art. Wherever you go, pay attention because there are wonderful examples of street art, graffiti, but also artistic interventions with tiles or ceramics and other materials. We wanted to include the street art in our list because we believe it somehow reflects the spirit of a fascinating city. In the video where we presented what Lisbon's public transport is like, we already mentioned that this was, by its own merits, one of the great tourist attractions of the city, and you will see how transport appears in several places on our list. But let's talk now about Lisbon's ascensores. They are funiculars that allow you to climb the steep slopes of the city in a quiet and relaxing way. There are three funiculars. The Bica funicular is quite picturesque, as its lower station is inside a house. It was inaugurated in 1892. The Ascensor da Bica connects the Cais do Sodré region with Lisbon's Bairro Alto. The closest metro station to the lower station is Cais do Sodré on the Green Line. Due to its location, the Ascensor da Gloria is one of the busiest in the city. It connects the super touristy Rossio area with Chiado and Bairro Alto. The closest metro station to the bottom station of the Ascensor is Restauradores on the Blue Line. Finally, if you're looking for a less touristy funicular, visit the Ascensor do Lavra. It follows a very similar route to the Gloria Ascensor, but up a hill opposite the Gloria lift. The Lavra funicular starts near Avenida da Liberdade and goes up to very close to the Jardim do Torel viewpoint. The closest metro station to the bottom station of the lift is Restauradores on the Blue Line. The picturesque funiculars are not only a great help in overcoming Lisbon's hills, but also a lot of fun. 2 quick tips. Don't buy a single ticket to ride the funiculars, you'll end up paying a fortune for the ride. Pay with a ticket loaded on your Viva Viagem card. We talk about it in the video on transport in Lisbon. And second tip, be careful with your belongings in crowded funiculars. One more attraction of Lisbon that you will find scattered all over the city. It's marvelous azulejos, the mostly blue tiles. Lisbon could be described as a tile capital of the world, and examples of this typically Portuguese art form are present in every corner of the city, both on the street and below it in the metro network, a gigantic work of Lisbon art of its own. There are tiles of all sizes, themes and colors, reflecting various influences incorporated over the centuries and demonstrating that the mastery achieved by the Portuguese in the art of tiling is simply unsurpassed. And a sensational place for those who like beautiful things and want to know more about the history of an art that is part of the Portuguese identity is the wonderful Museu Nacional do Azulejo, the National Tile Museum. As the metro does not run nearby to visit the museum, you will have to take a bus. There is a bus stop right outside the door. There is an entrance fee, and if you have the Lisbon card, you won't pay to visit it. Fifth on our list, another very characteristic element of Lisbon's identity. Wherever you step, your feet will come into contact with the calçada portuguesa, the traditional Portuguese pavement using small irregular stones. The calçada gives identity and even a unique light to the city, and takes on multiple forms that emerge from the hands of the calceteiros, the skilled workers who carve and lay the stones. Lisbon, a city where you are rewarded every time you look at the ground. Overlooking the city from above, the Castelo de São Jorge, St. George's Castle, a national monument, is one of Lisbon's main tourist attractions. It was built in the 11th century on a site where there were residents as early as the 7th century. A visit to the fortification allows you to tour the walls and climb the towers. Spend time on the tour, which requires quite a lot of time because you can walk around many different parts of the castle walls. Inside the castle walls there is a camera obscura. If you have never entered one, you will be amazed by the experience. The visit to the camera obscura is included in the entrance fee to the castle. Thanks to its dominant position overlooking the city, you will enjoy wonderful views of Lisbon all the time. Not surprisingly, the castle has one of the most beautiful viewpoints in Lisbon. The only public transport that takes you almost to the castle entrance is bus 737, which leaves from Praça da Figueira, goes through the center and up through Alfama to its final stop by the castle walls. If you want to walk up, there are two major aids. On Rua dos Fanqueiros, there is a free public lift to the castle, which will help you to get to a higher point in the city. Coming out of the first lift, look for the Baixa lift, another help on the way up, and then walk 10 minutes to the castle entrance. The visit to the Lisbon Castle is paid, and the entrance fee is the most expensive of all the attractions presented in this video. The Lisbon card is not accepted at the castle. Even so, we think it is worth the expense, but take our advice. If you arrive early in the day, you will find the queue at the ticket office empty, but if you take a little longer, the situation may have changed completely. The Centro Interpretativo da História do Bacalhau, Interpretative Center of the History of Cod, is a small museum that provides an insight into another important symbol of the modern Portuguese identity, the national passion for cod. It contains numerous interactive installations that explain the history of cod fishing and the reasons why this fish became such a fundamental ingredient of Portuguese cuisine. The visit is quite entertaining, both for adults and children, with the right to make fool of themselves, as we now see on the screen. The center is located in Praça do Comércio, right next to Terreiro do Passo metro station on the Blue Line. There is a fee to visit the museum, the value is low, and those with a Lisbon card get in for free. The Convento do Carmo, the convent of the Carmelite order, is a dominant building in the Chiado neighborhood. Built in the 14th century, at that time it rivaled Lisbon's cathedral. The medieval convent was destroyed during the Lisbon earthquake of 1755. Some partial reconstructions were made, but in the 19th century, when the taste for ruins dominated, it was decided not to continue with the reconstruction, leaving it as you will see it today, with the body of the naves open to the Lisbon sky. This decision helped to create a space that has a special magic, as well as being a powerful reminder of the earthquake that transformed Lisbon forever. In 1864, the Carmo Archaeological Museum was installed in the remains of the convent, where you can see archaeological remains from many periods of Lisbon's history, as well as original sculptural pieces from convents and churches. In addition, there is an interesting video mapping that shows the history of the convent over the centuries. The Convento do Carmo is located near the top exit of the Elevador de Santa Justa. The nearest metro station is Baixa Chiado. Take the Chiado exit to reach the convent. There is a fee to enter the convent, and Lisbon card holders get a small discount on the price. Lisbon's public transport is again on our list because its network of classic elétricos, also known as historic elétricos, is a source of fascination for anyone visiting Lisbon. The elétricos are, of course, Lisbon trams, streetcars. There are several lines that take you to different parts of Lisbon, and we talk about each one in the video about public transport in the city. Seeing the city through the window of vehicles that are many years old is fascinating. Although all the tram lines are very cool, the most popular is number 28, with a very complete and interesting route from the narrow streets of Alfama through the city center and up to the highest areas of Lisbon. Don't miss the video we've mentioned several times about transport in Lisbon, where we explain how to use the trams and share some valuable tips on how to get the most out of them. Overcoming the height that separates Baixa from Chiado neighborhoods without breaking a sweat is no easy task. And to help with the walk, in 1902 a marvelous work of engineering was inaugurated in neo-Gothic style and made entirely of iron. Today the lift is no longer a means of transport used regularly by Lisboners, but has become one of the capital's main tourist attractions and an unmistakable silhouette of central Lisbon. At the top of the lift, in Chiado, there is a free access structure with wonderful views of Lisbon. There is also a paid observation deck at the top of the lift. Although long queues to get on the lift in the Baixa-Chiado direction going up are part of the Lisbon landscape, you should know that in the Chiado-Baixa direction, going down, the wait is much shorter, when it is not like last time when we found ourselves with zero queue to get in the lift. The nearest metro stations are Baixa-Chiado on the blue and green lines and Rocio on the green line. Don't buy a single ticket to go up in the lift, it's very expensive. Pay with a transport card. With the one included in the Lisbon card, you can ride the lift as many times as you want for free. The Lisbon Story Center is a small museum which, through interactive installations, tells the story of Lisbon in a very entertaining way. The journey through time takes you through the highlights of the city's history, from Roman times to almost the present day, including a simulation of the devastating earthquake of 1755. The center is located in Praça do Comércio, right next to Terreiro do Paço metro station on the blue line. There is a fee to visit the museum, the price is not very expensive, and those with a Lisbon card get in for free. Under the watchful eye of the 25th of April bridge, LX Factory, rescuing the acronym LX from the word Lisbon when the city's name was spelled with an X, is today one of the capital's most fashionable addresses and a stark contrast to all the traditional history and culture of the Portuguese capital. More than a decade old, LX Factory is the result of the conversion of a former industrial area into a space where you will find fashion shops, workshops, bars and restaurants, and many other places of interest. In the wonderful Ler Devagar bookshop, Read Slowly, you may even be lucky enough to witness a mini theatre performance by the talented artist William. To get to the LX Factory, you will have to take tram line 15 or several bus lines depending on where you are coming from. In a city built on so many hills, it should come as no surprise to find such an extraordinary number of miradouros, Lisbon's viewpoints. We're still going to make a video entirely dedicated to them here on the channel, but in the meantime, you should know that if you like beautiful views, you are in for a real treat in Lisbon. And the best news is that, with the exception of the Mirador, the viewpoint at the castle, all of them are free to visit. The Mosteiro dos Jerônimos, the Jerónimos Monastery in the Belém district, is an extraordinary work of art declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. It was built between the 16th and 17th centuries and is the best example of the Manueline architecture, also known as Portuguese Gothic style, marked by its exuberant forms. The exterior facades of the monastery and above all the magnificent cloister of breathtaking beauty stand out. Equally interesting is the church where the poet Luís de Camões, the navigator Vasco da Gama, and part of the Portuguese royal family are buried. To get to the Jerónimos monastery, take tram 15 which stops at the monastery gate. There is a fee to enter the monastery, but those with a Lisbon card get in free. The visit to the church is free. The Panteão Nacional, the National Pantheon, is a large monument that pays homage to illustrious personalities of Portuguese history. The Baroque building was built in the 16th century to be the church of Santa Engracia, but it was never used for worship. The endless construction work was not completed until the 20th century. The National Pantheon was installed in the building in 1966 with the purpose of perpetuating the memory of Portugal's illustrious citizens. Several of them are buried in the Pantheon itself, such as fado singer Amália Rodrigues, poet Sofia de Mello Breiner Andresen, and footballer Eusebio, as well as many of the country's political figures. Several cenotaphs pay homage to the navigators Pedro Álvares Cabral and Vasco da Gama, as well as the poet Luís de Camões. The Pantheon is open to visitors and it is possible to climb up to the terrace surrounding the gigantic dome that crowns the building. Needless to say, the views of Lisbon from the top of the Pantheon are very beautiful. The closest metro station is Santa Polonia on the Blue Line, but taking a bus closer to the Pantheon avoids a steep climb. There is a fee to enter the monument, but if you have the Lisbon card, you get in for free. The Padrão dos Descobrimentos is a monumental sculpture by the Tagus River. It is in the shape of a stylized caravel pointing out to the sea with Prince Henry the Navigator at the prow, accompanied by the protagonists of the Portuguese discoveries in the form of gigantic sculptures representing navigators, soldiers, evangelists, and artists. The original monument, erected in 1940 to commemorate the Portuguese history of the discoveries, was dismantled in 1958 and rebuilt in 1960. A viewing platform was later added to the top of the monument. Access is by lift and a short flight of stairs, and the views from the top are wonderful. Below ground, you can visit a small museum with sensational images of the construction of the monument. In front of the Padrão dos Descobrimentos on the ground, there is a huge and spectacular compass rose. To get to the monument, take tram 15, get off in front of the Jerónimos monastery and walk to the monument using an underpass to cross under the train tracks. There is an entrance fee and a small discount for holders of the Lisboa card. Parque das Nações, Park of the Nations, is the name given to the region on the banks of the Tagus River where the 1998 Universal Exhibition was held. Today it is a modern district of Lisbon, a center of leisure and commerce. It was built on a former industrial area, and for those who have time in Lisbon, it is a very pleasant visit. The region is full of interesting sights, including the Lisbon Oceanarium, one of the largest in the world, and the Pavilhão do Conhecimento, a science museum. The Vasco da Gama Tower, next to the Vasco da Gama Bridge, is the tallest building in Lisbon. A cable car runs from one end of the area to the other along the river with spectacular views of the region. The attractions we've just mentioned are paid, but you don't have to spend €1 to enjoy the Parque das Nações, which has lovely green spaces with promenades, gardens, with fountains and plenty of water. There is also an interesting collection of outdoor artwork, and it's always a delight to stroll along the Tagus River. In the region there are very nice restaurants and a shopping center. The most important infrastructure is the Oriente station, designed by the Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava, which is at the same time train, metro and bus station. The easiest way to get to Parque das Nações from the center of Lisbon is the red metro line. You will get off at Oriente station. Parque Eduardo VII, Edward VII Park, pays tribute to the British monarch on the occasion of his visit to Lisbon in 1902. Inaugurated a year later, it is the largest park in the center of Lisbon. It has a central strip of lawn and tree-lined walkways on either side. At the highest part of the park, and farthest from the city center, is a large monumental belvedere overlooking the park, Praça do Marquês do Pombal, Avenida da Liberdade, the center of Lisbon, and the Tagus River at the background. The park is a very pleasant place to stroll and relax, but what put it in our list of attractions is its Estufa Fria, one of the most charming and peaceful corners of Lisbon. Estufa means greenhouse in Portuguese, and the Estufa Fria is a large green area located in a corner of the park on a site formerly occupied by a basalt quarry. Despite its name, there are 3 greenhouses: the Estufa Fria, which gives its name to the place, the Estufa Quente and the Estufa Doce. Inside there are all kinds of plant species as well as small lakes and waterfalls. The roof is made of wooden slats that naturally control the temperature and light. The tranquility, the sound of the water, the birds singing, and the beauty that can be seen inside the greenhouses make the visit a real delight. The most convenient metro station to reach the park is the metro station of the same name, Parque, on the blue line. Admission to the park is free, while the Estufa Fria requires a fee. Lisbon card holders get in free of charge. The 25th of April suspension bridge, which crosses the Tagus estuary at its narrowest part, connecting Lisbon with the town of Almada, is one of the first images that come to mind when one thinks of Lisbon. The bridge is a constant presence in the cityscape, and the fascination it exerts on those who watch the incessant traffic crossing it is considerable. The bridge has 2 decks. The upper deck is reserved for vehicles, while the lower deck is for trains. At almost 3 kilometers long, it is one of the largest suspension bridges in the world. It was opened in 1966 and the deck for trains was opened in 1999. Wherever you go in Lisbon during your stay, you will see the bridge. But if you want to have a closer contact, you have to visit the attraction known as Pilar 7. Located on one of the largest pillars supporting the bridge, the Pilar 7 experience allows you to learn about the history of the bridge's construction and realize the staggering size of its components. The highlight of the visit takes place at the top of the pillar, where you will be taken by lift. From the top, in addition to the views of Lisbon, you will be able to see and hear the bridge up close. And if you are brave enough, you can look out over a glass platform that hangs from the heights. There is a fee to enter Pilar 7, but those with a Lisbon card get in for free. You will have to take tram line 15 or several bus lines depending on where you are coming from. Completing our list is one of the most classic images of Lisbon, the Torre de Belém, the Belém Tower. It is one of the city's most visited monuments, and along with the neighboring Jerónimos Monastery is on UNESCO's World Heritage List. Located at the mouth of the Tagus River, the tower was part of Lisbon's maritime defense system and was of great importance during the Age of Discoveries, protecting the port from which Portuguese explorers departed. The tower has many of the typical elements of Manueline art, with Islamic and Oriental influences. The exterior is very beautiful. The elements symbolizing royal power are present in many places. The arms, the armillary sphere, and the cross of the Order of Christ. The interior of the tower is open to visitors, although the rooms are empty. Still, it is an interesting visit. The easiest way to get to the Belém Tower is by tram line 15 and a 5-minute walk to the tower. The visit is paid and Lisbon card holders get in for free. The tower is a very popular place in Lisbon to watch the sunset over the sea, which in Lisbon is a very beautiful sight. And with this beautiful sunset, we finish our list of 20 must-see attractions in Lisbon. Lisbon is a fascinating city, and as you may have already noticed, it has a lot to offer. You will need 5 or 6 days to see everything we've shown you in the video, and even then, you will be short of time. As always, you know that if you have any questions, we'll be happy to try and help you make the most of the commentary box below. You will now see on the screen another basic video about Lisbon that answers many questions of those who visit the city for the first time. Be sure to watch it, we'll see you in it.